Hello Year 4, it's Mr. Tamlin here and welcome to today's topic lesson, which is all about music. Now in this video, we're going to be exploring the history of music first of all, and our learning powers involve listening skills and also our imagining skills to complete today's activities. Now on your screen you can see today's short date, the 22nd of February, and also our title of musical art, because we're going to be combining music and art together for today's lesson. We also have an instruction that says split your page into 4 sections and number each box. So underneath your title in a moment, can you use a ruler to draw a line down the page and across the page? And then you can put the numbers 1, 2, 3 and 4. Year 4, can you pause the video to write the date, title and split up your page now? Okay, let's get started with music in history. Now, music has changed a lot throughout the years, and on the screen we've got a very simple timeline, and we're going to start with one of the first periods of music that we're going to look at today, which is called the Baroque period. Now, I've added a few dates here just to give you an idea when this was. We've looked at the gunpowder plot in school, haven't we? Are we thinking about remember, the 5th November? That happened in 1605. And also in this category, we had the Great Fire of London in 1666, which you'll find out a little bit more in Year 5. So, in the Baroque period, we have got the orchestra. The orchestra was born. Operas were written for the first time and were based upon Roman or Greek myths. Famous composers are some of the ones here. So we've got Johann Sebastian Bach, we've got George Frederick Handel and Antonio Vivaldi, who we're going to find out a little bit more in a moment. Now, instruments of the Baroque era. So first of all, a lot of the instruments featured the cello, which sounds like this. Another instrument in the Baroque era was the double bass. It sounds like this. And a final instrument we're going to look at today is what's called the harpsichord, which was commonly used. We're going to listen to the harpsichord sound now. So there are some of the instruments from the Baroque era. Now this is the first task that I would like you to do, and thinking about your sheet or your book where we've written box 1 under the title. What I'd like you to do is go back to our learning document and click the link below to watch video 1. It says listen to this piece of music, and while it's playing I would like you to use your imagination skills to draw a picture in bit box 1. Now this picture could be whatever you imagine just by listening to the music. So it could be a particular characters or setting or time of the year that you want to draw a picture based on. The piece of music is called Winter and it's written by the Baroque composer Antonio Vivaldi. Let me show you how to get to this link now. So looking at today's learning document, if you click on clip 1, Winter by Antonio Vivaldi, you will be directed to this website here where you can find out more about the composer, who he was and some interesting facts. But it's these 2 videos that are important. You can either watch the first one, which is an animated cartoon version here using the music in the background, or if you want to watch the second video here, it's a real orchestra with the instruments playing that music as well. So can I ask you to pause the video now, find those links and then have a go at drawing a picture based on the music in your first box there. Off you go, Year 4. Okay, hopefully you've drawn your first picture based on winter, and it might even have a winter themed your image. We're going to move on to the next period of history in music, which is the classical piece. Now, there are 2 main composers in the classical period that we're learning about. The first one is Mozart and the second one is Beethoven. These were very important composers in the classical period. And here is a picture. Ludwig van Beethoven and Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Now, instruments of the classical era. So let's firstly listen to the oboe, which sounds like this. Now let's hear another instrument, which is called the clarinet. It sounds like this. Moving on to the bassoon, which sounds like this. And finally, we've got a piano, which was used much more in classical compositions rather than that harpsichord instrument we looked at in the Baroque era. Piano sounds like this. Now, the number of instruments in the orchestra grew. Previously, in the Baroque period, the orchestra was mainly made up of string instruments, whereas during the classical period, a larger range of woodwind instruments were included. For example, the oboe, the clarinet, the bassoon that we've looked at now. What I'd like you to do now is think about box 2 in your books. It says click link 2, and that is from our learning document, because this will take you to a piece of music. And while it is playing, I want you to use your imagination to draw another picture now. This piece of music is called Symphony No. 5, and it's written by the composer Beethoven. Let me show you how to find it now. So just like the last website, we've got different facts down the side here that you can read, and we've also got the videos to watch here. The first video is Barney introducing Beethoven's Symphony No. 5, and he gives you some ideas of what he imagines. For example, the very start, he thinks that could be someone knocking on the door, and that might be something you draw a picture of later. You've also got the full orchestra, so this is when the musicians actually play Beethoven's Symphony No. 5 in full, so you could click and play that one there. So you can decide whatever you'd like to draw your picture on. It could be similar to what Barney imagines, or it could be completely different. It could even be about kings and queens and feasts and parties, whatever you imagine it to be. So can I ask you to pause the video, find the video clips and listen to them, and then draw a picture, whatever you imagine based on the music, in box number 2. Okay, Year 4, hopefully you've got 2 pictures drawn in your book now, because we're going to move on to the next period of history, which is the Romantic period. Now, in this one here, I've added a fact because thinking about to our electricity unit and when we learned about Alexander Graham Bell, he invented the telephone in 1876. And as you can see, it's in our Romantic bubble here. So famous composers from the Romantic period include Tchaikovsky, we've got Chopin, and we've got Schumann as well. Okay, let's look at the instruments of the Romantic period now. Now, the range of instruments within the orchestra continued to grow because the music was much more passionate in the Romantic period. So some of these instruments included brass and woodwind. First, we've got the trumpet, which sounds a little bit like this. And another instrument is the piccolo, which sounds like this. Now we've also got some percussion instruments like the drums and the large timpani drums. They sound like this. And other instruments might have included the harp as well. Now the harp sounds a bit like this. Okay, let's move on to our third box in our book now. It says click the link below to watch video 3. Listen to this piece of music, and while it is playing, use your imagination to draw another picture in box 3. This piece of music though is called In the Hall of a Mountain King, and it's written by the composer Grieg. Let's see how to find that link. So link 3 takes us to this website here. Again, you've got information here, and it also gives you a bit of a background as to what the composer imagined. It gives you a clue as to the setting of mountains and the characters of trolls. The first video is an animated one, so you might want to click this one, or you might want to watch the full orchestral performance here. So pause this video and find that link to listen to the music, and then draw a picture of whatever you imagine in box number 3. Okay, Year 4, we're going to move on to the final box now. After those 3 main periods of Baroque, Classical and Romantic, we have what's called the 20th century music, which is much more modern. Music composed after the Romantic period can be considered as 20th century music. This type of music uses a whole range of musical instruments, from live instruments to recorded sounds to electronic sounds, much more of a range there. So for box 4, we're going to click our final link to watch the video there. This piece of music is called Storm, and we'd like you to listen to it and use your imagination one final time to draw a picture in box form. It's written by the composer Benjamin Britten, and I'm just going to show you how to find the link now. So here we are on the website. Read the information down the side about the actual music and the composer if you'd like. And here are the video links showing the storm scene here in animation, or the full performance with the orchestra playing Storm. So one final time, Year 4, pause this video and listen to that piece of music, then draw a picture of whatever you imagine in box 4. Once you've done that, Year 4, we are done for music today. So well done for all of your pictures. Please send a picture to your teacher so we can see how you got on today. Bye for now.